You can go through the dining room if you like.
Become right there, right?
If you want me to. Well, I think I should be. Someone needs to volunteer.
Anything else? It's live.
So that they can, do you see, does it show how many people are on or not? 5? Okay.
Danielle. Danielle.
No, Lisa will be arrested.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you for coming on behalf of the family. I just want to say it is really an honor to be here for Danielle, Steph, and Allie, and the rest of the family and friends that are so close to John. I've known him since, being in high school and growing up with Danielle and Steph. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Christine Fuoco. We grew up together in high school, grammar school. For those of you that couldn't be here, it's very difficult for Danielle, Steph, and Allie, and everyone else to do this today. It is in honor of John's birthday, his 80th birthday. And I just want to start by reading a poem. And then we'll go on with the rest of the family because everyone is really good at sharing memories. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God has chosen for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned him back, I turned my back, and I left it all. I could not stay another day, to laugh, to love, to work, or to play. Tasks were left undone, must say that I found now peace at the end of the day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joys. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Oh yes, these things too I will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. Always look for sunshine of tomorrow. My life has been full. I've savored so much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seems all way too brief. Don't lighten your time with undue grief. Lift up your heart and peace to thee. God wanted you now, and he set you free. I do this for a living, but it's not very easy when I'm on the other side, so just bear with me. I just want to read one more poem, and I think it seems pretty appropriate because knowing Danielle and Steph and the whole family, everyone is so successful and so vibrant and so full of life, and they have so much love and so much to give. And as much as I've known of John and Mr. Ely, as we used to call him, he was so giving and so generous and so happy and so jolly, and that's what I remember, especially the shore house in the summer and his famous July parties. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of the birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what really mattered most of all was the dash between the years. That dash represents so much. All the time that he spent on earth and now, and all those that loved him will know what that little line is now worth. For it matters not much how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. It doesn't matter. It matters how we live, how we love, and how we spend our dash. So think about this really long and never know how much time is left. Things can still be rearranged. To be less of the people in our lives that we never ever loved before. If we treat each other with respect and we more often wear a smile, remembering that special dash, because it may only last just a little while. So when your eulogy is being read and your life's actions are being rehashed, would you be proud of the things that they say about your dash? And I think that for the most part, I think anybody talking about John's dash is pretty cool. So thank you. So I'm going to read this for Danielle. I'll try. When I think of my father, the first things that come to my mind: support, love, and strength. My father started his career as a young man with nothing besides hope, drive, and ambition. He never graduated high school. Often what Google tells me is what families in poverty used to resort to. Basically, these cold cut byproducts were their versions of steaks and cutlets. He then grew up into a proverbial badass, running around the streets of New Brunswick with a handgun on his hip, and he was only in his late teens. He then settled down and developed a work ethic like no other. From construction to cabinetry to new homes, he did it all. He made some of the most ingenious, novel, and savvy business decisions you could ever imagine. He was an amazing father who gave us so many wonderful memories that still bring us smiles to our faces and laughter to our hearts. Regular trips to New York City, the Radio City Christmas show, yearly, and every Sunday on the farm, even with horses and four-wheelers so everyone could enjoy themselves. We would have pool parties from trips to the Keys, Florida Keys. While he did this, he never forgot those that were less fortunate around him. From having my mom make an extra dinner plate for Mike Drew that he would bring to each night, ensuring that there would be Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas gifts for workers, and even their families during the holidays. He was truly, truly one of a kind. Later on, after my mom passed away, he had stepped up and proved that he was indeed the foundation and the structural columns of all construction jobs and all the new homes that he built. After 40 years of being taken care of by my mom, he became the sole pillar of strength and stability. He was the patriarch of our family. He invested in us, he invested in everyone that he loved, and he was the glue that held our family together. Thankfully, he got a second chance at love and life itself, and he married Maria. They succeeded side by side as restaurateurs and became parental figures to their restaurant family. He was a beloved member of the entire community in Marathon. And with the Key West Citizen newspaper recently chronicling that the city of Marathon was left shaken by his death. And I saw that, by the way. Even recently, when the pandemic hit, he ensured that his staff was taken care of by having his cook prepare meals just to feed the families that were out of work and fending for themselves. Although he was always busy, he would never, ever fail to find the time to travel back to New Jersey each month to answer our calls, whether it was to give advice, listen, or just talk about business and life in general. He was the one that I knew that I could call, and he would always know the answer about whatever my question was. He taught us to work hard, and always look into the future. Invest in the people that you love. Listen with an open mind and always accept it with an open heart. Respect everyone, no matter where they come from and what they believe. Now he's gone. I have a greater appreciation for the importance of leaving a mark. Take time for those that surround you. Lend a helping hand to always to those that are less fortunate. Take the time to always teach valuable lessons. Take time to love those that love you back. He truly knew the meaning of the golden rule, doing unto others as you would want done unto you. He had a life well lived, and he leaves behind so many that will miss him dearly and will always remember him forever, which I hope inspires every single one here and those beyond. Always love the most about the people who are gone. Always be the things you love the most about the people who are gone. At this time, I'm going to introduce Jackie. And Jackie is going to share a few words.
Hi everyone. First I want to thank the family for the privilege of being able to say a few words about John and God. How you say a few words about John Ely? I don't know. We're gone. But I'll make it brief. Ecclesiastes tells us there's a time to be born and a time to die. This was John's time. Anything you would have done would not have changed it. You can be mad, angry, don't understand it, didn't want it to happen. I heard you seek God. However you go to get to God, seek God, pray, talk. You don't need a formal prayer. Maybe it's a walk on the beach. Maybe you get together with your family. The Bible tells us the Lord orders the paths of his saints. Let God order your steps right. You're going to need God. There's a lot of holidays, a lot of special occasions. He's going to come. He's not going to be here, but you know what? He is here. He's in your heart. You're always going to carry that with you. I just want to say, please, lean on God. John touched so many people. I always remember certain stories. He was funny. He was generous. He had this thing about him. He was like a people magnet. Anytime he walked, we met at Crystal Point Yacht Club. Anytime he walked down that dock, it's like everybody came out of their boats. They wanted to be with John. He would go John and Joe, because you never said John without saying and Joe. And Crown Royal. John and Joe, Skip and Lonnie, Howard, Donald, they would go to what they called the man's breakfast. They would go to this place, Mariners Cove, and overeat. Then after that, they'd all go to Costco, get those big carts, not the cart, the big thing, loaded up with all kinds of stuff we didn't need. John and Joe would put all kinds of things in everybody's cart to embarrass them when they got to the checkout. I always remember Howard coming down the dock, and I'm thinking to myself, what kind of crap did you buy now? Can I take it back? You know, it was just one of those things. We also knew when the Jetty Lynn was going to the canyon, because there was a traffic jam in the parking lot, food deliveries. John loaded that boat up with everything, and off they went. One story, you know, we used to love to sit around with John just to hear his stories. So one story he told us one time was really funny. It was at the beginning of the month. He was up collecting rents. It was a warm night like this. He had his arm hanging out the side of his truck. Had that big watch on it. And you could see that watch from space. Gold, diamonds. One of the tenants came up to him and said, Mr. John, that's some watch. He reached down, grabbed his gun. If you can run faster than this bullet, you can have this watch. And that was John. When I got elected to the president of the condo board at our condo in Brielle, he taught me how to strong arm all the residents so I could get all their proxies, and it worked. He coached me over the phone. He knew how to talk to people and to get what he wanted from them. He just had every special gift there was. I always remember a lot of times when he was sitting with Howard and I, telling Howard, do everything you can. Do it all. Because in the end, you're laying in that bed by yourself. You don't want to be thinking, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. Well, John, he didn't have to say that. 1 Timothy tells us to fight the good fight, finish finish the race? Well, he did. And I'm sure that when God saw John, he said, well done. And I just want to mention one more blessing that I was fortunate enough to witness with John and the Healys. The absolute devotion and love for his family. We all know it, we've all seen it. He just wore it like a proud badge. It's the agape love that God talks about in the Bible. God talks over and over again. The greatest gift is love. John had that tenfold. There's nothing he wouldn't do for his family. And being blessed to be one of his friends, there's nothing he wouldn't do. He was generous. Yes, he was generous with his money, with financial things. He was generous with his life and his knowledge. He taught my husband, Howard, the first thing Howard said was, John taught me so much about real estate, construction. He just oozed love and was very generous. And I know as generations go on, John's legacy will go on. I just want to mention one last thing because it hit me when someone said that there was going to be a memorial for John here. I remember when Alyssa spoke at Joanne's funeral. After that funeral, when he saw John, he was amazed at how strong this little girl was. And that's healing love, and you all have it. We're all going to get through this by holding up each other, but I really urge you to seek God. Any way you worship God, any way you can get there. Everyone, please. And thanks again. And this is a moment that I'm going to really open my heart until I go home. Thanks for the time.
Share with you.
Maddie.
I'm going to read on behalf of Matt. My grandfather, John Ely, passed away due to complications from the coronavirus. His heart has stopped. He did not suffer, he did not feel pain, but I'll do anything to have been able to be there and tell him how thankful I was for everything he has done for me and my family. He was the glue, the wisdom, and the one man you could go to for absolutely anything. And he would know 2 or 3 people to give you a hand in whatever it was. The bank, the voice of reason. He did everything and anything to provide a great life for his family. He got out of high school in the 10th grade and was a dropout who began making cabinets. While making cabinets, he was also buying and maintaining a bunch of real estate properties. He didn't come from the luxurious means that I am blessed to say that I did. John Ely was raised on welfare, eating canned sardines for dinner. When his mother could occasionally get a steak or 2, she would overcook it severely. I have countless memories of him eating a giant 24-ounce steak that's so rare it could run off the table. What I'm trying to say here is this man came from nothing, was entitled to nothing but the shirt on his back. He was able to grow, prosper, and bring his family to a much better place in life and in society. Who are we to not take these blessings, take all of my grandpa's hard work and not grow on it? We cannot be complacent. I am blessed with such a head start in life that I need to pass it on to others. If we don't, then we are nothing like John Ely. If we don't, then we are doing him a disservice and only acting in the best interest of ourselves. This motivates me in the means that we need to help others less fortunate than us become fortunate with us. We need to help others. Life is not about stature, skin color, wealth. I don't judge a man by the color of his skin. I judge a man by the content of his character. My grandfather could have been a blue dwarf from the South Pole. Everyone would have loved him the same. It's not about these stupid artificial things. It's about how you treat the person standing next to you. start with like Christine.
Oh, the kids got something.
This is on behalf of Carlo. I miss my grandpa. Every single day that goes by, I miss him more and more. He was an amazing person who played an amazing role in my life. I may be young, but not young enough to know how great my grandpa was. I'd like to share a memory that I shared with my grandpa and my cousin Joanna. One day we went to dinner in Point Pleasant. Oh. One day we went to a diner in Point Pleasant. I've always loved fishing, and at the time I was very into it. Of course, my grandfather pitched an idea of getting a fishing rod. So we dropped everything we were doing and we headed straight to the fishing store, which ended up being closed. I thought we would just go home and let this happen another day. My grandpa wouldn't give up. He drove me and Joanna all around town, even in other towns, until we found an open fishing store. When I picked out my rod, we went to the register. And I remember thinking how lucky our whole family was to have a grandpa in our lives. I'm really going to miss him so much. I love you, Grandpa. Okay. This is on behalf of the grandkids. We all loved our grandpa so much, and we can have so many different memories of him. So we all know that grandpa wouldn't want us to talk about grief and everything like that. He would want us to share all the good times we had with him. My most memorable experience and funniest memory I have with my grandpa was on the plane going to Punta Cana, which was an amazing trip that we all went on as a whole family. Anyway, on the plane, it started pouring rain. I was little and don't know what was going to happen. I obviously ignored the fact that it was supposed to be quiet on an airplane. So I screamed, "Grandpa, is this normal?" And the whole plane was silent. But my grandpa still answered and said, "Honey, we're fine, it's just rain." He didn't even care that everybody was listening. That's how grandpa was. He would always be so kind and didn't care who was watching. I love you, Grandpa, and I miss you.
Dave.
Anyone else? I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
To
Thank
your
you.
family. I
Thank you.
notice is really limited and very intimate and family. So I just want to say thank you for letting me help
Thank you. Our
and
pleasure.
do the best I can to make it as normal as possible, even though it's not a normal circumstance. My goal is just to try to make it a little bit easier. So I hope that I was able to make it easier for you guys. Really, it is an honor. So I just want to say thank you. I love you all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I'm so blessed that I actually had a chance to know your dad and his suspenders and
Yeah.
his personality. And he just always sat and everybody gravitated towards him no matter where it was, and everybody always went to him. He embraced all the kisses and the hugs from all of us girls. So I will miss him, and we'll live on in his memory, and I'm sure you guys will definitely continue with his legacy. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.